patch notes video. Yeah. Hey, what's up, everybody? My name is Onepeg. In this video, Brandon Herrera, eat your heart out. I don't even know what I'm doing there. We have a new hotfix. I was in bed getting ready to drift off to dreamland, watching myself some 1,000-Year Blood War. The new season of Bleach is a banger. Anyway, yeah, looks like we got some much-needed changes. Hopefully, this ends up bringing the sexy back. Well, let's go over it. So the patch got released, or is being released right now. The servers are down for 2 hours, started at 12:45 a.m. about 15 minutes ago as of recording of this video. Fixed an issue where Demon's Glee's magic weapon damage was set incorrectly. Barbarian's Rage physical damage reduction penalty changed from -15 to -25%, making Barbs take a lot more damage. Barbarian's two-hander armor penetration bonus changed from 15% to 5%, another much-needed change. PDR MDR maximum cap changed from 75 to 65. Now, I think this point is a little bit moot because aside from some really heavy-handed talent stacking on the side of a PDR fighter, you really weren't seeing 75% anywhere. I ended up doing the math and it was somewhere around 62%. So I think that this, even with barricade and stuff, isn't really going to matter. But whatever. Removed infrequently used random modifiers. Interesting. So they're already looking at getting rid of, I would assume, things like interaction speed, perhaps, which would be very, very interesting. Although there is some use for it when you start looking at things like using a liar and whatnot, but to like loot the treasure pile faster. But changed all equipment to have slight differences depending on rarity. So this is actually a good thing. It gives not a crazy amount of advantage to the base stats of gear. I'm assuming that this is going to be around base stats of gear. It doesn't give a crazy advantage to people with base stats of gear. Maybe 1 point of difference is all you really need between like the blue quality of gear and like legendary plus, and that would probably end up alleviating a lot of the achieving that people are trying to do. Slightly reduce the damage of all weapons. There is one little aspect of this that I see as a potential issue, but shouldn't be that big of a deal. If they're reducing weapon damage by a couple of points, it's probably not going to really matter. But I can see an argument here with the reduction of hit points across the board for everyone and a reduction in the amount of base damage that everybody's doing. It could end up being a little bit more difficult for people that aren't really super proficient at it to be able to down bosses as efficiently or as maybe not be as able as they had been prior to now. If it's not that big of a change, it should still be fine. Bardiche is no longer an axe-type weapon. The biggest, baddest thing that most barbarians were doing when you would see them running at people is using axe mastery and two-hander, the two-handed perk, and just running at people with a Bardiche and cleaving them in the face, because it does an awful lot of damage. This takes a lot of the extra axe damage off of the board, but still leaves some of the armor penetration bonus. I don't know if two-hander armor pen being 5% is going to end up making it be a talent that they want to take anymore. They could end up subbing it out for something else. Leaves an awful lot of room for stuff like Potion Chugger in this case. It still ends up being something where I think they end up doing significant amounts of damage. They can still trade with people. They still have the HP pool, but now it isn't just like a one shot necessarily and you're dead. So I do think that this is a good change. Crossbow's armor penetration from 30% changed from 30% to 20%. Again, a much needed change. Range and Ranger was the other half of this patch, or the patch 69. Crossbow's equipping time increased from 2 to 3 seconds. No hot swapping of crossbows. I think this is an important change. Windless crossbow armor pen changed from 40 to 30%, and the crossbow equipping time increased from 3 seconds to 5 seconds. Again, hot swapping being not ideal. I've been saying this right along. There's no sense in having it be a situation where you can switch out an inventoried crossbow or windlass faster than it takes to reload the damn thing. This, I think, is a much needed change. It prevents people from being able to just hot swap crossbows and windlasses to be able to just op the hell out of people from range. Now, there was another note here saying that Longbow's armor pen changed from 20% to 15%, but this has been omitted, keeping the Longbow armor pen at 20%. Now, I personally think that if they did a slight reduction in the damage of all weapons, and that includes these three, that alleviates an awful lot of pressure from the ranged meta that we've also been experiencing at the same time as the Barbarian being as volatile as it was, or had been up until this point. So hopefully this ends up bringing things back into perspective a little bit. I didn't really necessarily mind the gear changes nearly as much as I minded the balance issues. This is a step in the right direction. in my opinion, this is a step in the right direction. I don't know if it's going to be everything. We obviously have to get in there and test it. But at the very least, it shows and has shown repeatedly that the guys at Iron Mace, including SDF, at least listen to the consumer feedback that they are getting from the majority of people that are looking at this stuff. And they even admitted that they understood that this was a shock and made several balance changes. And hopefully they end up having to tweak it a little bit more. And it'll be more in line with what we're hoped to seeing from this game, moving forward. So that's everything. This to me looks good. I like the way that they're going with this. It gives people a little bit of a carrot to chase in terms of like gear and trying to get some amount of achievement out of the higher qualities of items that they're supposed to be looting with all of these additional loot chances. But it's not making it such a vast difference that it ends up being a gear check. And that's ultimately the idea. You want a carrot for people to chase, and you also don't want people feeling like they're just getting stat checked every time they end up in a fight. And that's a really hard thing to try and manage, but I think that they're trying. Now, I realize that down here, there's an awful lot of clown emojis because I know that there's a lot of people that are still pissed. Personally, I still say patch 67, 68, whatever it was the best patch that we had when they ended up buffing all the loot rates. This patch hotfix, 70, I think, 69-1 is what they're calling it. This patch, I think, is a move in the right direction. Hopefully, we end up seeing something positive come out of it. I'm personally looking forward to testing this, although I am going to go to bed, and I will check it when I get up in the morning. For those of you that enjoyed this, if you would be so kind as to sub the channel, that would be amazing. Otherwise, I will be live around 6 or 7 a.m. Eastern Standard Time, normal time, for you guys to come and check it out live over at twitch.tv/Onepeg. Otherwise, if neither one of those work out for you, I guess I'll see you in the next video. Thank you so much for lending me your eyeballs, everybody. I appreciate you all. We'll see you real soon. Peace.